Is Narendra Modi's secular burqa coming off? Has he walked straight into a Congress trap? Are Advani's fears coming true? Joining us on the center stage face-off tonight, representing the BJP, GVL Narasimha Rao. With us also back from a brief sabbatical, Yogendra Yadav from the Aam Admi Party, one of India's foremost political analysts. Siddharth Vardarajan, editor, one of India's most respected newspapers, The Hindu, joining us from Chennai. With us also, Kalikesh Singh Dio, Member of Parliament of the Biju Janata Dal, Shahid Siddiqui, Chief Editor of Nai Dunya, Mahesh Jethmalani, Senior Advocate of the Supreme Court, works very closely with the BJP, current status a bit ambiguous, joining us on the program, Priyanka Chaturvedi, spokesperson of the Congress Party. I want to go across first to GVL Narasimha Rao because it would seem that Narendra Modi has walked straight into a trap laid by the Congress Party, and this is what Advani had been fearing all this while. So far, the focus was on misgovernance, policy paralysis, corruption. Suddenly, in the last few weeks, we've seen the attention shift, and now the debate is on communalism versus secularism. You are now fighting on the Congress's turf.
I don't think, I think it's the Congress Party which is completely unnerved by the kind of response Mr. Narendra Modi is getting all across the country. I think they don't know how to handle him. Look at the whole battery of Congress leaders today. He makes one statement, you have 20 Congress leaders responding to it. I think, and the real man who is supposed to be fighting him, the Congress campaign committee chief, who is Rahul Gandhi, is missing somewhere in Europe, or possibly he is holidaying. Where is Rahul Gandhi? Why doesn't he speak to the country? Why does he not know what to say, what to respond to Mr. Narendra Modi? I think Modi is making waves. He is creating.
Okay, Priyanka Chaturvedi.
The Congress Party, I think he has taken it by
Congress,
storm.
it seems, is suffering from Modi phobia. Headlines today has reliably learned that over this weekend, Ajay Maken and a team of data crunchers were working, looking at Narendra Modi's speeches very, very closely, trying to find factual inaccuracies in what Modi said. For a party that says Modi is a non-issue, you seem to be spending a lot of time and energy debating and wondering what to do with him. Priyanka.
No, the thing is, Rahul, if you come up with lies and you are peddling your lies to the people of this country, we are answerable to the people of this country. Our answers are for the people of this country, not for Mr. Modi. We are not asking questions to Mr. Modi. We are asking him to answer a few lies that he's been peddling. Give us some facts.
No, but look at what the Congress said today. You know, you're taking him on who won how many medals in the national games. Now Modi is speaking of larger issues. He spoke of corruption in the Commonwealth Games. You know, it seems as if Congress is catching the cow by its tail. Look at the broader substantive issues that Modi is raising, and you hit back by asking Narendra Modi how many medals he's won in the national games.
Let me also add the kind of facts that they seem to have found out about Gujarat. Rahul, all these facts have been rattled. All these facts have been rattled out by Arjun Modwadia and Shakti Singh Gohil, the two top Congress leaders who incidentally have lost their own
MLA seats.
Ajay Maken seems to be taking advice from these leaders. He will meet their fate.
The Gujarat model.
Yes, Priyanka. The Gujarat model was never about Gujarat being a sporting power. The Gujarat model was not about how many gold medals the Gujarat team won in the national games. That was never the Gujarat model.
But our questions were not just about our questions were not just about the sports. We are asking you in terms of education, in terms of tourism. We've asked a few questions. Answer those questions. Why are you
tourism arrivals have significantly increased in Gujarat. I think you don't seem to have the facts, and you're being extremely
Priyanka,
selective.
Somewhere the Congress is missing the context.
I think the Congress Party is lying through its teeth. I think tourism arrivals have increased in Gujarat in the recent years, and you are simply you're trying to spread misinformation. You have tried it in Gujarat, and 6 months ago people have slapped the Congress leaders in Gujarat. So don't try this again. It will again come back to you on your face. I think Mr. Modi represents, he embodies good governance.
The country has been slapping you all on your face every 5 years.
Okay, just 1 second. Before this becomes a tutu mai mai, I want to bring in Yogendra Yadav on the larger, more substantive points of whether Narendra Modi is walking into a Congress trap. That instead of this election being about all the scams, the misgovernance, the CAG reports and what have you, killing the India growth story. This is now about whether you like Modi, whether you hate him. It's become a referendum, or is becoming a referendum on Modi. Do you think that suits the Congress party really well and is going against Modi?
I don't agree, Rahul, that Narendra Modi has walked into a trap. I suspect that all of us have walked into a trap. That is to say, media, analysts, most of us have walked into a trap jointly laid by the BJP and the Congress. Every time it happens before elections, that instead of discussing real substantive issue, Congress and the BJP, and it especially happens in the case of Gujarat, managed to create a lot of heat and dust around one remark or the other, and all of us are then chasing that one remark, its implications, and so on and so forth. And at a time when we should be discussing these bone-chilling revelations from Gujarat about the cold-blooded killings and so on, and Narendra Modi should be answering, Congress should be asking those questions. And at a time when we should be discussing the gas price increase, which is the ultimate example of crony capitalism in this country, at that time we are discussing puppies. So I think that is the strategy in which you and I get trapped. On a political note, I do not think it is Narendra Modi's strategy to polarize this election around communalism and secularism. His strategy is that he would emerge as a leader of development, which he is not, but he would wish to project himself as, and he would want Congress to turn it into an election about communalism, secularism. And it could well be Congress walking into a trap, simply because Congress has not developed any ideological or political way of combating Narendra Modi's style of very crude communalism.
Okay, that's an interesting analysis. You're turning the argument on its head and saying that this will actually work to the Congress's favor, to the BJP's favor. But Kalikesh Singh Dio, the fact remains that if this becomes a Congress versus BJP fight, it's the so-called third front, parties like the BJD, that are suddenly left with nowhere to go. It's the Congress, BJP taking on each other. All the punches are being exchanged between each other, and the voters also start thinking of this as a Congress-BJP fight, and the smaller regional parties then get a lesser share of the pie. Does that concern you?
No, Rahul. I don't believe that the electorate of India is any longer concerned with a Hindu majority versus a minority fight any longer. You know, I think it's the Congress itself does not have an issue which is development linked or governance linked. It's obvious by their performance, and they've laid this trap on Narendra Modi, and Narendra Modi has his own concerns. I mean, he's been fighting Advani in the BJP system and some others, and he's had the backing of the RSS. So he's sort of pandering to that as well as falling into the communal trap. I think this entire communal versus secularism issue will actually take away votes from both the Congress as well as the BJP, and it will actually help the regional parties who work on governance and who work on statehood issues.
But this, Mahesh Jethmalani, is exactly what Advani had feared. That prophecy now seems to be coming true. The fact that Modi seems to be polarizing the election, partly through his own comments, partly through the attacks of his opponents, but increasingly it seems that Advani's fears were correct all this while. He said that this will become a referendum of Modi. It will no longer remain a referendum on the UPA's performance, and that will go against the BJP. Mahesh Jethmalani.
Well, you know, there are advantages and disadvantages in having Mr. Narendra Modi as being the central focal point of the next election. Clearly, the Congress, now desperate for power, they have no record to stand on, are going to pick holes in every word he says, every statistic he uses, get down to some gutter level politics by saying how many Gujaratis have won gold medals and so on and so forth, divide the country, religious, communal, provincial, regional lines. All that is going to happen. But I think it's going to expose the Congress. Right now, let's face it, the real battle at the national level. Of course, regional parties are very important, and they will certainly come into the post-election alliance equations. But and let me tell you, whatever be the tenor of the debate between the Congress and the BJP, regional parties are going to play their part. Let's not underestimate that. And I think in that sense, Mr. Advani is right that that we need to have a broader UPA strategy, NDA strategy. But having said that, a charismatic leader adds tremendously. The BJP, and I'm of the view that the BJP has to maximize its own votes. Now we haven't set out going into this communal secular divide. The BJP has eschewed it. We have gone on a pure development program.
That's
If you
not
look
true.
At any speech
When
of
someone
Mr.
like Narendra Modi, Mahesh Jetmalani sends Amit Shah to Ayodhya, and Amit Shah says that the Ram Mandir will be built in Ayodhya and it is core to what the BJP will do after the elections, then Rajnath Singh can make as many assurances as he wants later, but the message has gone home. When he says that Kutte Ka Pilla comment, when that comes through in the context of the 2002 riots, and also later, you know, when he says the burqa of secularism, when he uses the phraseology, the burqa of secularism, all of this taken together seems to indicate that his own secular burqa, Mahesh Jetmalani, is coming off.
I don't think so. I disagree with you. Amit Shah look, you can somebody should really interview Amit Shah, because I think what Amit Shah meant was that it is the goal and ambition of the BJP to have a Ram Mandir in Ayodhya. But
He
that
said
doesn't
it
mean
will
we
be
are
an
going to do it
election
at all
issue. We
costs.
don't need to super interpret what he said.
No.
What he said was it will be an election issue.
I don't think
now everyone can try and explain what Amit Shah said, but what he said, send the message to whomever he wanted to send that message to.
Please go back. Rahul, please go back. Please go back. He didn't say it's an election issue. He put it as a goal which every BJP worker should strive towards, but it cannot be done in ignorance of a court verdict. It cannot be done in violation or ignorance of a court verdict.
Let me bring in Shahid Siddiqui. One moment. Your turn will come. GVL Narasimha Rao, don't try to monopolize the debate. Your turn will come. I want to bring in GVL Narasimha. I want to bring in Shahid Siddiqui. Do you think with comments like the burqa is coming off, the secular burqa is coming off, do you think with Amit Shah going to Ayodhya, do you think with this Kutte Ka Pilla comment, do you think if you add up all of this, Narendra Modi's secular burqa is coming off? Do you think that's the message that is going out covertly or overtly through what Modi is saying? Shahid Siddiqui.
It seems that Modi is deliberately taking off his mask. And he's a master of imagery. If you remember, in 2002 elections, he used the term Mia Musharraf. And everybody knew in Gujarat, everybody knew in the media that what he was talking about. By Mia Musharraf, he never meant Musharraf, General Musharraf. He meant the common Muslim in Gujarat. And he always said we have to teach a lesson to Mia Musharraf. So he was not the person who was going to fight on the borders of with Pakistan. It was in Gujarat, and it was in the context of Gujarat elections. Similarly, he is using this imagery now of a burqa and of a pilla and all that, to send a message both ways, that I am a man for development. He doesn't want to use the word Muslim. He doesn't want to use the word Hindu basically. He doesn't want to use the RSS physiology. But at the same time, he wants to give a subtle message to his followers that look, I stand for Hindutva and Hindu ideology. But that is not going to work on all India level. India is not Gujarat. India is too complex. India is too large, too big. It will work against BJP, and the way they have sent Amit Shah to Uttar Pradesh, it seems that they just do not understand Uttar Pradesh. They do not understand Bihar. A person like Amit Shah with his past, with his record, even if he didn't talk of Ayodhya, he would have sent a very, very negative message.
Okay,
to the people.
You're saying that the messaging is changing. I want to bring in Ashok Malik, because the concern is that is Modi veering off? I will only talk of development. During the Gujarat Assembly elections, he only spoke of development. There was no Mia Musharraf, there was no burqa of secularism. But as he moves from Gujarat to Delhi, he realizes that just development is not going to be enough, and therefore the acoustics, the surround sound of the communalism versus secularism take center stage.
See, there are two things. I think the focus of this election has to be the UPA's record.
But it's no longer that.
No, I think we are overreacting. I agree with Yogendra Yadav that the secularism versus communalism debate is more apparent in TV studios and the op-ed columns than in real life on the streets outside. I don't think common people are thinking in terms of this being a decisive, polarizing Hindu versus Muslim election, as previous elections have been sometimes. I don't think common people are looking at it quite that way yet. But Mr. Modi's appeal, whether one likes him or not, one has to realize a pugnaciousness and a sort of sense of aggression is intrinsic to his appeal, and he can't really run away from that. And he is campaigning on a hard, nasty, hit out at the Congress, call them names, mock them. That is his appeal. Whether it works or not is a separate issue.
Siddharth
but that
Varadarajan,
is
do you
very much his
think
appeal.
do you think Narendra Modi is walking into a Congress trap when he says the burqa of secularism with the kutte ka pilla comments? Do you think these are mistakes made in the Modi campaign machine, mistakes that shift the agenda from development, from governance to communalism versus secularism, which suits the Congress much more? Siddharth Varadarajan.
Look, it's a very calculated message that Mr. Modi is trying to put out. And it's a complex message because on the one hand he wants to build on the image that people in the media have created of him standing for development, but on the other he wants to also carry along the hardcore, the RSS constituency, and also pander to the worst kind of urban middle class prejudices. And he's repeatedly done this. I mean, in 2002 the speech that he made about hum panch hamare 25, he doesn't have to use the M word, he doesn't say Muslim, but you use various code words, you suddenly bring in a reference to Ramzan or madrasas, as he did in his September 2002 speech, or you talk about the burqa of secularism here. So these are all, as Shahid was saying, these are code words that are used to basically tap into the faithful, and they are a constant reminder of the kind of politics that Mr. Modi actually stands for. I don't think it's correct to say that he's walking into a trap, because this is a deliberate strategy that is being pursued by him, and the reason the BJP is anointing him as its leader in the 2014 elections is precisely so that he can.
You're saying that this is a deliberate strategy,
constituency and prejudice,
that the mask of just looking at development and nothing else was never going to hold. That from the very first moment, Narendra Modi knew that this would be about Hindutva. Yes, development is important, G.V.L. Narasimha Rao, but it's not going to be enough to win you an election. You need to rally your core original voter, and therefore Narendra Modi is going by script, and therefore those who felt that he would leave communalism aside, Hindutva aside, were mistaken from the very first moment. He has to make this an intrinsic part of his campaign.
Rahul, whatever Mr. Modi speaks, he never speaks without thinking. He is not like one of those leaders who will simply make off-the-cuff remarks without thinking. And you cannot fight an election merely on one issue. There are going to be a menu of issues that will be raised, and this is one. And here also he is saying the Congress party is hiding behind a burqa in the name of secularism, and then trying to hide all the misgovernance that it has committed in the last 5 years.
But Priyanka Chaturvedi, from the perspective of the BJP and Narendra Modi, this is absolutely correct. The Congress, one second, hear my question out before you answer. Instead of answering the key questions that Modi raises, the Congress floats these trial balloons. You start questioning whether Modi has been able to win, his athletes have been able to win in the national games. You question whether Gujarat is a big tourist destination or not. You're not discussing the core fundamental issues that Modi is raising. You're taking it off onto a tangent. The Congress is guilty of that, Priyanka.
No, absolutely not. We have also raised relevant questions. Why are you sidelining those questions? What about the education? Why are hundreds of positions lying vacant in universities? Their midday meal schemes or their ratios are equally bad. Why aren't they answering those questions? It's not about getting rattled. It's about nailing his lies.
Mahesh Jetpalani, that's an important fact. That Modi seems to have, Congress calls him Peku, but Modi seems to have the sense of exaggeration, or sometimes not getting his facts completely right. He says, for example, that China allots 20% of its GDP to education, India only 4%. That statement is not factually correct.
Agreed.
Should he not be doing better fact checks for a man who hopes to be Prime Minister?
GDP is at 3.8%.
Well, all right. So if Modi has made any factual errors in his many pronouncements, then people will judge him. The Congress will bring it to the notice of the people, and they will succeed in proving him to be what they call Feku. That's the hurly-burly of a democracy. He's making claims, and let the Congress expose him. The fact is, we have an incumbent government today, and the people will be able to see through it whether the Congress wants to shift the agenda to a communal one or otherwise. The people of this country realize that the Congress party has neither leadership, nor record, nor future agenda. They will be voted out. who today from the Congress is even trying to defend the Congress's record? Nobody. Everybody is
Right
going
now,
and
the
nitpicking
leadership
on
challenge
words
that is
used by
being
Modi
faced is by the
and the
BJP,
statistic.
Mr. Jethmalani. BJP is facing that leadership crisis.
No,
BJP
Ashok
has
Malik,
no
do these
leadership
facts
crisis.
matter?
It is the Congress
I don't
leader
think
who
so.
is
You are
running
so
away from the
obsessed.
battle.
Today the Congress is so obsessed by our leader that they
Yes.
have nothing to say about their own leaders.
Absolutely, and their leader never speaks. And he perhaps doesn't know what to speak, or I don't know what is their strategy. Why, if he is accountable, why doesn't the Congress leader, who is also
Mr. Rao,
anointed
we will
as the
speak at
Congress
the time we
campaign
need to
committee
speak.
chief? He is the vice president
We
and
will
also
not be
the Lok
coming up
Sabha
with fake
campaign
facts and
committee
figures.
chief.
Okay,
We will not be
Siddharth
coming up with
Varadarajan,
fake
does
facts
this
and
matter?
figures.
No, you're
The
too
fact-
busy.
Oh, one by
They're
one.
probably too busy mourning Kutrochi. Too busy mourning Kutrochi.
Priyanka should respond. That pot shot needs to be answered, Priyanka.
What was that question?
Oh, there was no question. There was a pot shot that your party is mourning Kothroki. Anyway, you don't have a retort to that. Doesn't matter. Let's leave it for a moment.
That is
Your party
that is
leaders
something
in
which-
particular.
That is a ridiculous question.
Okay. Siddharth Varadarajan, do you think this matters to the electorate that Narendra Modi constantly seems to be coming up with facts which are not factually correct? The Congress labels him Peku. Do you think this whole business of fact-checking and trying to burst the Modi balloon, will it stick? Siddharth Varadarajan.
Look, politicians always say things during stump speeches, and we are very much in election mode right now. And the Congress and the BJP, Mr. Modi and other leaders, will make all kinds of statements, a vast majority of which may not stand up to actual scrutiny. So, you know, this is par for the course. What I find interesting, and I just want to come back to the earlier issue, that the reason why Mr. Modi and the BJP as a whole cannot go too deeply into the Congress's record of governance or misgovernance is because if you really want to go into the heart of all the corruption scams that have happened, the finger will have to be pointed at some of the largest corporate houses in India, all of whom are significant supporters, or many of whom are big backers of Mr. Modi and the BJP, and Mr. Modi and the BJP are counting on their support. So you can have one of the biggest, you know, when the government announced $8.4 for gas, and then of course promptly had to withdraw it, you know, you didn't hear any complaint from the BJP about this handout.
And that's the point.
The BJP
And
was
that's the
in the
point
forefront.
that
BJP was
Yogender
in the
Yadav and the Aam Aadmi
Neither
Party have been
BJP
making
was
the
in the
most.
forefront.
One second, GBL. That's the point that Yogender Yadav and the Aam Aadmi Party have been making, that the BJP is in cahoots with the big corporate houses and therefore doesn't want these issues to take center stage, which is why the trivial, non-serious issues, Yogender Yadav, are the ones that the most amount of noise is made around. Professor Yogender Yadav.
That's what I thought, Rahul, that as you and I spend a lot of television time discussing this question, BJP war room and Congress war room would have a quiet laugh at us at our expense. We must ask two questions very carefully if we want to take this debate seriously. One is, Congress could have picked up all kinds of things against Mr. Narendra Modi. They could have picked up the disclosures of last week. They could have talked about his business deeds. They could have talked about some of the evidence of corruption. Why is it that Congress, directly and through journalists who are friendly to Congress, is trying to foreground this particular remark? That would tell you a lot about Congress. Secondly, Mr. Narendra Modi, who misses no opportunity to criticize the UPA, right? But why is it that he does not even talk about the biggest scam of the UPA in the last month, namely raising the gas prices to, in the most brazen way, help the Reliance Group? Why is it that Mr. Narendra Modi does
Respond,
not even
GBL
open his
Narasimha Rao.
mouth
This is the
about
time to butt in. Once with an answer.
Congress party,
We would begin to understand what's really happening in this country.
No, BJP has been in the forefront of fighting the Congress party and the UPA on all the corruption scandals. And
No,
you
do you
have
not
blamed
find
us.
it amiss that gas prices have been raised in the way that they have, that left and the Aam Aadmi Party are the only ones opposing
a
it?
statement.
Yes,
At
respond
an
to
appro-
Yogender Yadav, GVL.
No, at an appropriate time. I'm not.
No, how much is an appropriate time?
What,
Arun Jaitley
there
was
is
asked about
parliament
it, he said
session.
we are
There is
studying it.
no the party.
How much time does it take? When it comes to Pawan Bansal, Ashwini Kumar, within moments you're going all guns
But
blazing.
most corruption scandals, you're talking about one single development. You're talking about one single issue. Honestly, I'm not aware if there was a response on this. If the party had not responded earlier, wait for the parliament session.
Yogender Yadav, you
without
accept that
party deal.
explanation?
You are nowhere.
Let Yogendra
You are
Yadav
nowhere
explain his
in fighting
position.
all this. In Parliament, it was the BJP which was in the forefront of this campaign. The 2G scam, the coal scam, it was the BJP which was fighting the Congress. Where was the Aam Aadmi Party doesn't exist.
Yogendra Yadav.
That makes it all the more interesting for you to ask the question that I and before me Siddharth Vajradhan had raised. This is one of the biggest scams of our time, led by a brazen party which removes a minister, Mr. Jayapal Reddy, in order to bring another minister who was ordered to increase the price in order to suit the biggest corporate house of this country. And the largest opposition party, who is ready to pick up everything in the election mode today, does not even speak about it. Is it one small issue? Is it a lapse of memory? Or does Ambani Group's presence in Gujarat have something to do with
Mahesh
it?
Jethmalani, would you like to respond? GVL hasn't been able to come up with an adequate counter. Mahesh Jethmalani.
Listen, if Yogendra Yadav raises any issue on crony capitalism and giving away by the state, whether it's a state government or the central government, to any crony capitalist without an auction or without transparency as laid down by the Supreme Court, I will join hands with him, publicly condemn. I hold no axe, and I don't think my party holds any axe for any corporate house. This is a canard being spread by the Aam Aadmi Party. It is their credo. They want to taint us like they taint the Congress Party. But I assure Mr. Yadav that we hold brief for nobody, and if he has evidence of corruption of anybody, from the Ambani to the smallest industrialist, we are willing to debate it and condemn them if the facts prove right.
Okay. Ashok Malik, do you think in this fire and brimstone, the real issues, the issues of inflation, price rise, job creation, development, governance, road, highways, those issues are being lost? We are hearing about puppies, we are hearing about the burqa of secularism.
We are hearing about that in TV debates, to be honest with you, but I don't think that's good.
Those are the issues your politicians are talking about as well.
Perhaps, but I don't think those are the issues on which people on the streets are discussing and common people are discussing. Because let's not forget, Mr. Modi's record in Gujarat, whether he's won 2 gold medals or 5 gold medals or 0 gold medals, is frankly irrelevant. His record in Gujarat has been debated and settled in December 2012, one way or the other. This election is going to be over the UPA's record. And in 300 to 350 seats, it's BJP versus Congress. And seats will go one way or the other. And I can't see how the UPA's record and the Congress record of the past 10 years can't be foregrounded and can't be at the center
No,
of
but that
this election.
is what seems to be changing. The fact that there is now more and more clamour around communalism versus secularism.
I don't think.
And do you think, Kalikesh Singh, do you think that both parties are playing this game together? That it's a footsie that's happening between the Congress and the BJP, where they would like very much for the agenda to be communalism versus secularism and forget everything else?
I don't think so.
Let Kalikesh respond.
Fair enough.
I certainly think the Congress wants it that way, and that's the best option to go into polls with. I think Narendra Modi is sucked into that because of his internal party bickering. And I remember the same situation which happened when Advani ji and Vajpayee ji were trying to spearhead the NDA, and ultimately it was Vajpayee ji who actually came on top. So I think Narendra Modi would be well advised if he sticks to developmental issues and brushes aside any issues of religion and communalism which feature in the future.
But why is he not doing that, GVL? Why does he have to resort to imagery like the burqa of secularism, etc.? Why can't he keep it purely about development? Is it because it's not enough to win the election?
Because the Congress party is practicing fraudulent secularism. Because the communal party, BJP, the Congress calls BJP communal, I think it is the Congress party which is rabidly communal. They are sharing power, they are in bed with communal parties in Kerala. They are with Christian parties, Muslim parties. They have an alliance with a Muslim party in Hyderabad, and they have the ability to call the BJP communal. I think it's a farce. I think the Congress party is both rabidly communal and also fraudulently secular. We don't buy the argument, which even the media seems to have got carried away by this. The pro-minority appeasement is secularism, and taking the name of Hindu is communalism.
Okay, Shahid Siddiqui wants to come in. Do you think that it is offensive for Modi to say that he's a Hindu nationalist? He says, I'm a Hindu, I'm a nationalist, and I'm proud of being one. Do you think there's anything offensive at all? Do you think Modi communalizes the election when he says something like that, Shahid Siddiqui?
No, what seems to me is that Modi is unsure of himself. He realizes that his appeal is a limited appeal. He is unable to appeal to Bengal, to Tamil Nadu, to Karnataka, to large parts of Uttar Pradesh and North India. So what he is trying to do is that he is trying to build up his image as a great savior of Hindus, as he did in Gujarat. Gujarat it worked, but it can't work on all India basis. So, but he is sure that his developmental model is not going to appeal across the caste divide, across the religious divide, across the rural-urban divide. So he is trying to overcome all these divides by making his image as that of a great Hindu savior who is going to save this country and usher India into a Hindu Rashtra.
Mahesh Jethmalani.
Well, I don't think so. I think Modi has tried to project himself as a development messiah, not as a Hindu messiah who's going to save this country. Nobody said this country has to be saved. It has to be saved from terrorism. Yes, it has to be saved from false cases. It has to be saved from security across the border. But there is certainly no internal threat barring the Naxalites in this country and sleeper cells of the LET. That's all Modi is trying to do. But let me tell you something. We are a little confused in this debate. If you, on the one hand you say that Modi is falling into a secular trap set by the Congress, on the other hand you say Modi himself is setting a communal agenda by talking about things like the burqa of secularism. I think that Modi has used that imagery and it has unfortunately been seized upon by some people. And Modi, I think, used that imagery of the burqa in the context of that false Ishrat Jahan case, which needs to be debated. You will see rapid development in the Ishrat Jahan case and you will know what is being talked about.
No, Mahesh Jethmalani, in which case you mentioned Ishrat Jahan. No, I'm sorry. Mahesh Jethmalani, in which case you mentioned Ishrat Jahan and you take her on.
At the fraudulent secularism which Narendra Modi,
what are you talking about?
When you use imagery like burqas, you tarnish an entire community, Mahesh Jethmalani. That is the reality. So you can't say
and you are saying that secularism is only for Muslims. India is not secular because India wants to be modern. India is secular because you have Muslim population in this country.
India is secular because Hindus are secular.
People don't understand what secularism is all about.
India is not secular because Congress
India is secular because India is modern.
I think in this country it has become, as I said, the Congress party is actually anti-Hindu these days. I think they're trying to paint BJP as communal while they have actually, my allegation is they have become anti-Hindu.
Okay, Priyanka wants to respond to that.
Rahul, at the cost of jumping in, I was trying to jump in like 2-3 times into this conversation. There's a larger picture. He's been double speaking on every issue. Now, after Congress having punctured holes into his Gujarat model of development, he's also speaking about his Hindu agenda. He needs to clarify where he stands, where the BJP is heading. And
there seems to be ambiguity. There can be no dispute about the fact. No, one second, GVL. The fact that Amit Shah says Ram Temple is center stage on the BJP agenda. Okay. Suddenly you see Rajnath saying, no, Ram Temple has nothing to do with the BJP, the NDA's electoral agenda. What is the BJP going to people with? Your party seems to be confused.
There is absolutely no confusion. That's what I'm saying. Our governance is the focus of 2014 campaign. Development. Mr. Narendra Modi, when he is the center of the campaign as the campaign chief himself, the focus will be on governance. Focus will be on probity.
Is this a deliberate double game the BJP is playing in the hope of catering both to the development constituency and the communal constituency?
Look, there is no such thing as a development constituency, and even the communal constituency is a smokescreen, because both the BJP and the Congress are trying to make fools out of ordinary Hindus and Muslims in this country, quite frankly. There is only one agenda, and that agenda is espoused by the BJP, by Congress, which is to push a certain economic model, a certain development plan, and Mr. Modi crystallizes that in many ways because of the manner in which he has run Gujarat, and the business community, the largest industrial houses, are quite anxious to see that model replicated in the rest of India. Now, this is not something that's palatable to the ordinary voter. So how do you dress this agenda up? An agenda which will mean appropriation of land without any, without allowing people to protest. It will mean cracking down on trade union activity. It will mean all kinds of other measures of that kind. You do this by pretending that the election is not about this, it's about something else. It's about burqas, it's about communalism, it's about secularism. No, so that's essentially the game that's going on, and both the Congress
Ashok Malik,
and the BJP are playing this game.
on BJP
and
not picking up the right issues.
Become victims of this game.
He's saying the BJP is playing
I'm not
a
as
game.
cynical or conspiracy theorist as Siddharth, I'm afraid. I agree on the gas price issue. The BJP needs to come up with a forthright position. If it has...
No, but it's very surprising. For several weeks they haven't come up with a position. Their leaders are saying we are still examining
exactly
documents.
what I'm saying. It needs to come out with one. It should have come out with one by now. If it has come out with one, I've missed it. Just 1 minute, please. If it has come out with one, I've missed it, and it needs to come out with one. I'm saying that.
Now, how could you miss it? You track the BJP and the
that's what I'm saying.
It
It is exactly what I'm saying. It needs to come out with one. I agree with them, absolutely. But I don't agree that this is a jugalbandi. It's a nice bit, they're in cahoots and they're trying to hoodwink everybody. I think Mr. Modi's focus largely remains on the UPA's failures.
Yeah, you cut me off.
No, but is it okay for him to use imagery like the burqa of secularism? If Mahesh Jetmalani says this is about Ishrat Jahan, you're tarnishing an entire community.
Just 1 minute, hang on. If he feels, in his perception, that the UPA is also responsible for a certain crude identity politics with the Muslim community, if he feels that way, he has a right to raise it. And as I said, he has a certain pugnacious appeal and a certain abrasiveness.
Professor Yogendra Yadav, Ashok Malik argues that the Congress is resorting to crude imagery to try and polarize this election, get the Muslims to vote for them. Narendra Modi needs to counter it. He's doing it in an as crude, if not cruder way.
That's not quite what I said.
That's the substance of what you're essentially saying. Let Yogendra Yadav respond. It's crude versus crude.
I don't think I could hear
the question, sir, is here is the question. The question is Narendra Modi responding to the Congress trying to polarize the voters by making them fear that if Narendra Modi were to come to power, their lives, their security, their existence is in danger, and therefore Congress building the spectre of that fear to try and polarize the voters, and Narendra Modi hitting back.
I think Ashok Malik has correctly, as always, articulated Narendra Modi's strategy. Narendra Modi's strategy is not to hold this election on the communalism secularism card. His strategy is to appear as the statesman, strong leader who's for development, and it is his strategy that the Congress and the media should talk about communalism, secularism, and in the process appear partisan, sectarian, small and silly. And I really think that if there is a trap, and if there's someone who's walked into the trap, it's we in this studio who might have done so. And I think the real way, I mean, all this reminds me of that advertisement campaign of a mint with a hole and a mint without a hole. Remember that campaign and the war? I suspected that the war took place because both the brands did not have enough to distinguish each other. And the more I hear about this of Congress and the BJP, I remember that mint with a hole and mint without a hole, and I remember what difference they might have had.
That's why Kalikesh hopes that he and his party and others in the third front can be a completely different mill, not one with or without a hole. Kalikesh, you're laughing at the analogy that Professor Yogendra Yadav is drawing.
Could I comment on that?
No, I'm laughing at the perspective that both these national parties seem to have. I think the debate on this show is far removed from ground reality, in the sense that if you talk to today's youth, which represents almost 50% of the voters, they would tell you that they want jobs. They would tell you that they want better services.
Absolutely.
And most of these political parties are far removed from that. I think they will learn the lesson in the coming elections.
That exactly is the agenda of the BJP. Mr. Modi has been speaking on these issues for months and months, and I don't know how anybody can miss it.
This word goes out to both the Congress and the BJP. The number of gold medals the Gujarati athletes won in the national games makes absolutely no difference to the electorate.
On the contrary, they're trying to insult the Gujarat.
Employment, what they care for is growth, and the sooner the discourse shifts to these real issues, these real problems, the sooner our netas start telling us what they intend to do about these core issues, the better it is, because this smokescreen of communalism versus secularism serves the purpose of serves nobody else's interest except those of our netas, both in the Congress and the BJP, a game being played by both at the expense of the people of India. Ashok Malik, Yogendra Yadav, Kalikesh Singh Deo, Siddharth Vardarajan, GVL Narasimha Rao, Shahid Siddiqui, Mahesh Jetmalani and Priyanka Chaturvedi for joining us on the center stage face-off tonight and for drawing attention to the real issues that should be debated, that should be center stage in this election. Thank you very much. These are the issues that voters are interested in. Hopefully these are the issues our netas will take up as well. Thank you all very much for joining us on the show this evening. Let's move